This podcast is made possible by you, the supporters of WPLN and WNXP, Nashville Public Radio.
This is the Nashvillager Podcast. I'm Nina Cardona. This is your daily digest of what's happening around Middle Tennessee from Nashville Public Radio, WPLN News. And today, the biggest story in our city is, of course, the tragedy at Antioch High School. A 17-year-old shooter who killed himself and one other student, another teen injured from the gunfire. The initial word came out at lunchtime yesterday in a short official statement from the school district that shots were fired in the building. The school was put on lockdown. Police were on the scene, and the person responsible for shooting was, as they put it, no longer a threat. Very quickly, it became the kind of tableau we've seen so many times in footage from so many school shootings across the country. Students all moved to a gathering area, in this case, the auditorium. Outside, more than a dozen police cars, some officers in and around the building, others out in the street directing traffic away from the school. Parents gathering in the frigid cold, waiting for the chance to be reunified with their children. A quiet, nervous hush, watching, hoping, fretting, wondering who was injured, what their child saw, who did it, how, why. At the same time, the statements from officials rolling in, prayers for everyone involved, promises to take some kind of action. But as urgent as the words were, we still didn't exactly know what happened, and clearly, neither did they. And of course, for all of us a step removed from Antioch High School, the comparison was inevitable. That awful, gnawing feeling was so similar to what we felt not quite 2 years ago while we waited for information full of questions about what turned out to be a mass shooting at the Covenant School. The newscast is coming up after this break.
On This is Nashville, we're taking a journey into the identity of this place we call home. The old and the new, the glitzy and the gritty, the monumental and the human. What makes Nashville tick? What makes it unique? And where are we headed as a city? We're going deeper on the day's news, bringing you dynamic conversations and taking you with us out into the community. Join us weekdays at noon. This is Nashville.
Here's the latest from WPLN News. A fatal school shooting has shaken the South Nashville community of Antioch, again raising concerns about gun violence and leaving many seeking answers. Metro Police say 17-year-old Solomon Henderson fatally shot 16-year-old Jocelyn Correa Escalante and injured another teen boy. The teen with the gun then fatally shot himself. The attack happened in the Antioch High School cafeteria, away from two school resource officers in the building. The incident was at least partially live-streamed on a video platform, and police say they are examining very concerning online writings and social media posts by the teen who opened fire. WPLN's criminal justice reporter Paige Flager reports on what's next with the pistol recovered from the scene.
The 17-year-old assailant took the bus to school Wednesday morning, according to police. He later went into the bathroom, presumably to get the weapon, then went into the cafeteria and started shooting. Police Chief John Drake said that the department doesn't know yet where he got the gun.
We work closely with our federal partners, and they're doing a trace on the weapon as we speak.
The police are able to run guns through the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms e-Trace system, which is only available to law enforcement officials. Tracing guns can be difficult in Tennessee because of state laws that have made it easy to possess guns here without permits. Background checks are not required for private sales, including sales online or at gun shows. And juveniles under 18, like the shooter, are not legally allowed to have handguns. So it's possible that the trace may turn up results from years ago, when the last official sale happened. Paige Flager, WPLN News.
Antioch High School is closed for the rest of the week. The school district says the Southeast Community Center will offer resources and support for staff, students, and families, including grief counseling, hot meals, and food boxes. Antioch residents, therapists, and city leaders gathered at Hamilton United Methodist Church last night for a vigil. Aaron Rodriguez is an 11th grade teacher at the school. He says it was a day like any other until an announcement with code words signaled a shooter was on the campus. He barricaded the door to his classroom and says students followed a routine from frequent drills.
But there is kind of this moment where you see the mask slip a little bit, and you can kind of see the fear in their eyes because this isn't a drill. This isn't, one of those things that we practice because we don't know how many shooters there are, where the shooters are coming from. You hear voices of the SWAT teams down the hallway, and you can't really decipher exactly what they're saying.
He says drills did not prepare the community for what happened after the lockdown. He says that was confusing and a bit chaotic. The shooting set off a whirlwind of confusion for families as traffic gridlock slowed reunifications in a nearby parking lot. Mayor Freddie O'Connell spoke to the impact.
It is impossibly difficult to be here once again dealing with the devastation of gun violence in one of our school communities.
In recent years, gun-related crimes and other violent offenses have prompted arrests of other Antioch students. WPLN's Catherine Sweeney was at the scene yesterday and talked with one mother about the trauma that has inflicted on her daughter.
Scores of parents packed into a nearby MAPCO gas station. The outlets were full of phone chargers, with parents checking their kids' locations and zooming in on the map. Shantae Fry was one of the moms reading and rereading texts. She was waiting for her 15-year-old to make it to the reunification site.
She didn't want to come today because there's so many fights going on in Antioch all the time. So this is really not surprising that this actually happened, in my opinion. There's fights every other day.
The violence has escalated at times in the past few years. 2 students have been arrested for having loaded guns on campus, and in 2020, one was charged with homicide for running a classmate over with a car. District Superintendent Dr. Adrienne Battle used to be Antioch's principal. She urged the community not to let the violence overshadow the good that happens in the school. The district will consider additional safety measures. It already brought in shatter-resistant glass, security cameras with weapon detection software, and school resource officers. Catherine Sweeney, WPLN News.
The Antioch neighborhood is one of Nashville's most diverse, with nearly equal white and black populations and a larger percentage of Latinos than elsewhere in the city. The 16-year-old who was killed was Hispanic. The assailant was black. At-large Metro Council member Delisha Porterfield, who resides in a neighboring community, said she was devastated.
It is definitely heartbreaking. Violence has once again impacted our community, and it's very unfortunate that we live in a state that has unfettered access to arms, and it's going to continue to put our youth at risk and to put our communities at risk.
The chairman of the Tennessee House Democrats, John Ray Clemens, said he would continue to fight for common-sense gun safety solutions. And State Senator Charlene Oliver, the Democrat who represents the Antioch High School area, says she will also work to push for gun reform at the Capitol. It's been less than 2 years since the Covenant School shooting in Nashville. That shooting spurred a special legislative session on public safety, but lawmakers did not pass any meaningful gun reform. You'll find more news anytime at WPLN.org. That's it for today's edition of the Nashvillager podcast. If there are more developments related to the Antioch High School shooting, we'll be there through the day, bringing you information on our website and on the radio. And we do this roundup of Nashville news every weekday. So subscribe in your favorite podcasting app to make sure you never miss an episode. And if you value this, the Nashvillager newsletter is probably a good option for you, too. You'll get perspective from more of my colleagues at Nashville Public Radio and links to the stories we're following, and you can sign up for those daily emails at WPLN.org/Nashvillager. Thanks so much for listening. We'll catch back up tomorrow.